The year was 2045. The world looked almost the same as it always had. People went to work, children played in parks, and life went on as usual. But high above the earth, in the dark of space, something was changing. Hashtag the young scientist. Sarah Chen was a 28-year-old scientist who worked at a big space center. She had long black hair and always wore her lucky star necklace. Every day she sat in front of big screens, looking for signs of life in space. Most days were boring, but today was different. Sarah saw something strange on her screen. It was a signal, unlike anything she had seen before. At first, she thought it was a mistake. She checked her equipment, but everything was working fine. The signal was real. Hashtag the big discovery. Sarah's heart raced as she called her boss, Dr. Miller. He was an old man with thick glasses and messy gray hair. When he saw the signal, his eyes grew wide. This could change everything, Dr. Miller said, his voice shaking. They worked all night, checking and double-checking their findings. As the sun came up, they were sure. This was a message from space. But what did it mean? Hashtag the world reacts. News of the signal spread fast. Soon, it was on every TV channel and website. People all over the world talked about it. Some were excited, hoping to meet friendly aliens. Others were scared, afraid of what might come from space. World leaders met to discuss what to do. They decided to send a message back into space. They hoped whoever sent the signal would answer. Hashtag strange things start to happen. As days passed, more odd things began to occur. The weather changed in weird ways. Storms appeared out of nowhere. Animals started acting strangely, as if they could sense something humans couldn't. Sarah noticed these changes and felt uneasy. She kept working on the signal, trying to understand what it meant. But the more she learned, the more worried she became. Hashtag a warning from an old friend. One night, Sarah got a call from her old college friend, Mike. He worked for the military now. His voice was low and serious. "Sarah, something big is coming," Mike said. "The government knows more than they're telling people. Be careful." Sarah's mind raced. What did Mike mean? What was really going on? Hashtag the calm before the storm. As weeks went by, life seemed to go back to normal. But it was like the quiet before a big storm. People could feel that something was about to happen, but no one knew what. Sarah kept working on the signal. She felt close to a breakthrough. If she could just understand what it meant, maybe she could help prepare the world for what was coming. Hashtag the night everything changed. It was a quiet night. Sarah was alone in her lab, still working late. Suddenly, all her screens lit up at once. The signal was back, stronger than ever. As Sarah watched, shocked, the signal changed into a clear message. Her computer started to translate it. With shaking hands, Sarah read the first words. "We are coming." At that moment, the ground shook. Outside, the sky lit up brighter than day. Sarah ran to the window and looked up. Her mouth fell open in shock. There, high above the city, a massive ship appeared. It was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. More ships followed, filling the sky. Sarah knew, in that moment, that everything was about to change. The final stand for Earth was about to begin. As sirens began to wail across the city, Sarah grabbed her research and ran. She had to find Dr. Miller and the others. They needed to prepare. The storm had arrived, and humanity's greatest challenge was just beginning. The night sky glowed with an eerie light. Huge ships hovered over every major city on Earth. People stood in the streets, looking up with a mix of fear and wonder. The visitors from the stars had finally arrived. In New York, a giant ship floated above the tall buildings. It was smooth and shiny, like a huge mirror in the sky. Suddenly, a bright light shot down from the ship. In the middle of Times Square, a tall, strange-looking creature appeared. The alien had blue skin and big, dark eyes. It stood on 2 legs but had 4 arms. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "We come in peace," the alien said in perfect English. "We are the Zortan, travelers from a distant star." World leaders respond. News of the aliens' appearance spread quickly. In Washington, D.C., the president called an emergency meeting. Leaders from all over the world joined through video calls. They all looked worried and unsure. "We need to talk to these aliens," the president said. "We need to find out why they're here." But as they talked, more alien ships appeared over other cities. London, Tokyo, Moscow, and Beijing all reported the same thing. Aliens were everywhere. Back at her lab, Sarah Chin worked nonstop. She looked at the data from the alien ships and made an important discovery. "The aliens' technology is far beyond ours," she told Dr. Miller. "But there's something strange about their ships. They seem to be sick." Dr. Miller looked confused. "Sick? What do you mean?" Sarah pointed to her screen. "Look at these energy readings. It's like their ships are running out of power. I think they need help." In every major city, the aliens shared the same message. They said they came from a dying world. They had traveled across the stars looking for a new home. "We ask for your help," the alien in New York said. "Our people need a place to live. We can share our advanced technology with you." Some people liked this idea. Others were scared. What if the aliens took over? Different reactions. All around the world, people reacted in different ways. Some welcomed the aliens, holding up signs that said, "New friends from the stars." Others protested, afraid the aliens would take over Earth. In some places, people tried to attack the alien ships, but their weapons didn't work. The ships had a strong shield that nothing could break through. While the world's attention was on the aliens, a group of scientists and military leaders met in secret. They didn't trust the aliens' story. "We need to prepare for the worst," a general said. "What if this is just the first step in an invasion?" They began to make plans to defend Earth just in case. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. She kept studying the alien ships. The more she learned, the more worried she became. One night, she found something that made her heart race. She called Dr. Miller right away. "The aliens aren't telling us everything," she said. "I think Earth is in big trouble." Just as Sarah made her discovery, the aliens made a new announcement. Their leader, a tall alien with silver skin, appeared on every TV and computer screen in the world. "People of Earth," the alien leader said, "we thank you for your welcome, but now we must tell you the whole truth." The alien's next words made everyone's blood run cold. Earth wasn't just a new home for them. It was the only place that could save their dying race, and to survive they needed more than just a place to live. They needed the humans themselves. As the alien leader explained their real plan, panic spread across the world. The visitors from the stars weren't friendly travelers. They were the biggest threat humanity had ever faced. And the real battle for Earth was about to begin. The world held its breath as the alien leader's message echoed across every screen. What started as hope for a peaceful meeting quickly turned into humanity's worst nightmare. The alien leader, tall and silver-skinned, spoke in a calm voice that sent chills down everyone's spine. "Humans of Earth," that said, "we need more than just a new home. To survive, we need your bodies." Gasps of horror filled living rooms and public squares around the world. The alien went on to explain that their race was dying. They needed human bodies to put their minds into. It was the only way they could live. As soon as the message ended, chaos broke out. People ran into the streets, scared and angry. In New York, crowds tried to attack the alien ship with anything they could throw, but nothing could break through its shield. In other cities, people packed their cars and tried to leave, but the roads quickly became jammed. It seemed like there was nowhere safe to go. Back in her lab, Sarah worked faster than ever. She knew she had found something important about the alien's weakness, but now, with the truth out, she had to hurry. "Dr. Miller," she called out, "I think I know how to stop them." But before she could explain, the lab's alarms went off. The aliens were coming. In Washington, D.C., the president and other world leaders had an emergency meeting. They all looked pale and worried. "We need to fight back," said one leader. "We can't let them take our planet." But another disagreed. "Our weapons don't work against them." How can we fight? As they argued, reports came in from around the world. The aliens were starting to take people. Even as fear spread, brave people started to fight back. In London, a group of scientists and soldiers formed a secret team. They called themselves the Earth Defense Force. "You won't go down without a fight," their leader, Captain James, said. "There must be a way to stop them." They began to gather weapons and make plans, but they knew they were in a race against time. Sarah managed to escape from her lab just before the aliens arrived. She carried her research with her, knowing it could be the key to saving everyone. She met up with her friend Mike, the military officer who had warned her earlier. "We need to get this information to the right people," Sarah said, out of breath. Mike nodded. "I know just who to talk to, but we'll have to be careful. The aliens are everywhere now." All over the world, the aliens started to round up humans. They used strange blue beams to lift people into their ships. Families were split up. Friends lost each other in the chaos. But not everyone was taken. Some people found ways to hide. Others discovered that certain materials could block the aliens' sensors. In a small town, a group of kids found that hiding under old lead pipes kept them safe. They started to spread the word, helping others to hide too. As Sarah and Mike traveled to meet with the resistance, they saw something that made them realize how bad things really were. In a field outside the city, they saw rows and rows of strange pods. Inside each pod was a human, sleeping or unconscious. Aliens moved between the pods, checking on them. "They're not just taking people," Mike said, his voice shaking. "They're changing them somehow." Sarah knew they had to act fast. Whatever the aliens were doing, it was already beginning. As news of the aliens' true intentions spread, something unexpected happened. People from all countries, all religions, and all backgrounds started to work together. Old enemies put aside their differences. Rich and poor joined forces. Everyone realized that the only way to survive was to stand together. As the sun set on that terrible day, humanity faced its darkest hour. The aliens controlled most major cities. Millions of people had been taken. But hope wasn't lost. Sarah's discovery was making its way to the right people. The resistance was growing stronger, and all around the world, humans were preparing for the fight of their lives. The truth was out, and now the real battle for Earth was about to begin. It would be a fight not just for survival, but for the very future of humanity. As the aliens tightened their grip on Earth, humans everywhere prepared to fight back. The world had never been so united. Everyone knew that this was humanity's last chance. Sarah and Mike finally reached the secret base of the Earth Defense Force. They met with Captain James and other leaders from around the world. "The alien ships are sick," Sarah explained, showing her research. "They're running out of energy. That's why they need us." She pointed to a diagram on her tablet. "But this weakness gives us a chance to fight back." The room buzzed with excitement. For the first time, they had hope. Scientists and engineers from every country worked together to make new weapons. They used Sarah's discovery about the aliens' weakness. In a huge factory, workers built special guns that could hurt the alien ships. The guns shot beams of energy that could break through the aliens' shields. "We'll call it the Starbreaker," said Dr. Lee, the lead engineer. She held up the first working gun, its metal gleaming under the lights. All around the world, soldiers and volunteers trained to use the new weapons. They practiced in secret, hidden from the alien ships that watched from above. In an underground base, Captain James taught a group of fighters. "Remember," he said, "aim for the weak spots Sarah showed us. That's how we'll win." The fighters nodded, determination in their eyes. They knew the fate of the world rested on their shoulders. While some people made weapons, others worked on protection. They used old satellites to create a network around Earth. "This shield will warn us when alien ships are coming," explained Maria, a computer expert. "It will give us time to get ready." As she spoke, screens lit up around the room, showing a map of Earth with blinking lights where alien ships were. Communication was key to the plan, but the aliens watched all normal ways of talking, like phones and the internet. So people got creative. They used old radios, secret codes, and even trained pigeons to send messages. In a small town, a group of kids used an old Morse code machine to talk to other resistance groups. They felt like spies in an exciting movie, even though the danger was very real. ##, the underground network. As more people were taken by the aliens, others went into hiding. They built a huge underground network of tunnels and shelters. In these safe places, people stored food, weapons, and important information. They prepared for a long fight. One of these shelters was under an old school. Families lived there, children learned, and fighters trained. It was like a small city underground. ##, a race against time. Even as humans got ready, the aliens didn't stop their plan. More and more people disappeared every day. Sarah worked nonstop to understand more about the aliens' technology. "We need to move faster," she told Dr. Miller. "Time is running out." In the alien pods, people started to change. Their skin turned pale, and strange marks appeared on their bodies. The aliens' transformation was beginning. ##, the last preparations. As the day of the big attack got closer, everyone worked harder than ever. Pilots practiced flying special planes that could fight the alien ships. Engineers made last-minute changes to the Starbreaker guns. Doctors prepared to help people who might get hurt in the fight. ##, an unexpected ally. Just when things looked darkest, something surprising happened. A small alien ship landed near the Earth Defense Force base. Out stepped an alien, but this one looked different. It was smaller, with green skin instead of blue. "I want to help," the alien said in a shaky voice. "Not all of us agree with this invasion." Captain James pointed a gun at the alien, not sure if he could trust it. But Sarah stepped forward. "Wait," she said. "This could be the break we need." ##, the eve of battle. As night fell, the resistance leaders gathered for one last meeting. They looked at maps, checked their weapons, and went over the plan one more time. "Tomorrow," Captain James said, "we take back our world." Around the room, faces were serious but determined. They knew the fight ahead would be hard, but they also knew they had no choice. It was time to stand up for Earth. As everyone prepared for bed, a quiet excitement filled the air. Tomorrow would decide the fate of humanity. The final battle was about to begin. The day everyone had prepared for finally arrived. As the sun rose, the resistance fighters got ready for the biggest fight in Earth's history. ##, the first move. Captain James stood in front of a large screen, looking at a map of the world. Red dots showed where the alien ships were. "It's time," he said. "Send the signal." All around the world, hidden antennas sent out a special sound. It was meant to confuse the alien ships. The plan worked. Alien ships all over the planet started to wobble and shake. Some crashed into each other. "Now," shouted Captain James, "launch the attack." Fighter jets took off from secret bases. They carried the new Starbreaker weapons. The pilots were nervous but ready. Over New York City, the battle was fierce. Alien ships shot green lasers at the human jets, but the jets were faster and smaller. Sarah watched from a building nearby. She held her breath as a jet flew close to a big alien ship. The jet fired its Starbreaker gun. A bright blue beam hit the alien ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a loud boom, the ship's shield broke. It worked. Sarah shouted into her radio. "The Starbreaker works." On the ground, soldiers and volunteers fought bravely. They used smaller Starbreaker guns to fight alien troops. In London, a group led by Dr. Miller defended Big Ben. The famous clock tower was now an important communication center. "Hold the line," Dr. Miller shouted. He fired his gun, hitting an alien soldier. The alien fell, its blue skin turning gray. The green alien who had come to help was with Sarah. Its name was Zix, and it knew a lot about the other aliens' plans. "Their main ship is over there," Zix said, pointing to a huge ship above Central Park. "If you can destroy it, the others will leave." Sarah quickly sent the message to Captain James. This could be the key to winning the war. Captain James came up with a bold idea. He would lead a small team into the main alien ship. "We'll plant bombs inside," he explained. "When they go off, the ship will fall." It was dangerous, but it might be their only chance. Sarah and Zix joined the team. Using Zix's knowledge, the team found a way into the big ship. Inside, it was dark and scary. Strange noises echoed through the halls. They saw rows and rows of pods, each with a human inside. Sarah felt sick. They had to stop this. "This way," Zix whispered. "The power center is close." Suddenly, alarms went off. Alien guards rushed towards them, shooting their weapons. Captain James and his team fought back. They used their Starbreaker guns, which worked even better inside the ship. Sarah and Zix ran ahead. They had to plant the bombs before it was too late. They reached the power center. It was a huge room filled with glowing blue energy. "Plant the bombs here," Zix said. "It will destroy the whole ship." Sarah worked fast, setting up the bombs. Her hands shook, but she didn't stop. Just as they finished, Captain James ran in. He was hurt but still fighting. "We have to go," he shouted. "But the pods, there are still people in them." Sarah looked at the bombs, then at the exit. They couldn't save everyone. But if they didn't set off the bombs, everyone on Earth would be in danger. With tears in her eyes, Sarah made the hardest choice of her life. She pushed the button to start the countdown. They ran as fast as they could. Alien soldiers chased them, shooting. Just as they reached their escape ship, the bombs went off. The whole alien ship shook. Sarah looked back. The huge ship was falling, breaking apart in the sky. As the main ship fell, something amazing happened. All over the world, the other alien ships started to leave. Cheers erupted from the ground. People hugged each other, crying with joy. But Sarah and the others knew it wasn't over yet. There was still a lot to do. They had won the battle, but the war wasn't finished. As their small ship flew back to base, Sarah looked out at the city below. The world had changed forever, but humanity had stood strong. The big battle was over. Now, the real work of saving Earth would begin. #humanity's last hope. The main alien ship was gone, but the fight wasn't over. As Sarah and her team flew back to base, they knew the hardest part was still to come. #a new threat emerges. At the base, Dr. Miller had bad news. "The aliens left something behind," he said, pointing to a map. Red dots blinked all over it. "What are those?" Captain James asked. "Eggs, Zix, the friendly alien, said quietly. "If they hatch, the invasion will start all over again." Everyone looked worried. They had won the battle, but they could still lose the war. The race against time. Sarah studied the map. "We have 48 hours before the eggs hatch," she said. "We need to find and destroy them all." Captain James nodded. "Let's split into teams. We'll cover more ground that way." As they got ready to leave, Sarah looked at the tired faces around her. They had already fought so hard. Now they had to dig deep and find the strength for one last push. Teams spread out across the globe. They searched cities, forests, and even under the ocean. In Paris, Dr. Miller's team found eggs hidden in the Eiffel Tower. They carefully removed them and destroyed them with special chemicals. In the Amazon rainforest, another team battled giant insects guarding a nest of eggs. They used flamethrowers to burn the eggs before they could hatch. Sarah and Zix went to Tokyo. They found a large cluster of eggs in an underground train station. As they set up equipment to destroy the eggs, Sarah noticed something. "They're moving," she shouted. "They're about to hatch." Zix acted fast. He used his alien technology to freeze the eggs. Sarah then smashed them with a hammer, her heart racing. They had come so close to disaster, but there was no time to rest. More eggs were waiting to be found. As the deadline got closer, they realized there was one place they hadn't checked: the ruins of the main alien ship in New York. Captain James led a big team there. What they found shocked everyone. Thousands of eggs, all about to hatch. "We can't destroy them all in time," someone said. panic in their voice. But Captain James didn't give up. "We have to try," he said, "for Earth." As they frantically worked to destroy the eggs, Zix made a discovery. "These eggs need special energy to hatch," he said. "Energy from the mothership." Sarah's eyes lit up. "So if we cut off that energy, the eggs won't hatch," Zix finished. They now had a plan, but they needed to work fast. Sarah and Zix raced to find the ship's power source. Captain James and his team held off the first alien babies that started to hatch. In a deep part of the ship, they found what they were looking for, a glowing blue cube pulsing with energy. "That's it," Zix said. "Destroy that, and it's over." But there was a problem. The cube was protected by a strong field. Someone would have to go inside to shut it off. "I'll do it," Zix said. "It's my people who caused this. Let me make it right." Sarah tried to stop him, but Zix had made up his mind. With a sad smile, he stepped into the field. As Zix worked, the cube's glow got weaker. Around the world, the eggs stopped moving. They turned gray and crumbled to dust. But Zix paid a high price. As the cube went dark, so did he. He had given his life to save Earth. The next morning, the sun rose on a changed world. The alien threat was gone. People came out of hiding, blinking in the sunlight. There was a lot of work to do. Cities needed rebuilding. Those changed by the aliens needed help. But humanity had hope again. In a quiet ceremony, world leaders thanked Sarah, Captain James, and all who had fought. They also honored Zix, the alien who became Earth's friend. As Sarah looked at the crowds of people celebrating, she felt proud. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and won. The world would never be the same, but together they had saved their home. And now they could start building a better future. As the story of Earth's great victory spread, people looked to the stars with new eyes. They knew they weren't alone in the universe, but they also knew that together they could face anything. The last hope had become a new beginning.